Okay, welcome everybody back to our next Fireside Chat. I'm Howell, CEO and co-founder of Jute. These Fireside Chats, we get together with other industry experts to talk about hot trends in the industry. And today I've got Paul Lally from Whipfly to talk about strategies that can help RIAs achieve their peak performance, or as Paul likes to call it, prime. So Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bo.
So that's a good point. I mean, when you're out talking with RIAs, particularly in this space, are there some specific areas that are often neglected, kind of like your top 10 list or something that you see over and over again in firms?
I don't think we have enough time for my top 10 list.
So maybe your top three.
Top three, the first one will sound kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's absolutely not tongue-in-cheek. The first question, especially in the wealth space, you need to ask yourself, am I growing a firm which is institutionalized? There's structure, there's delegation of responsibilities, there's a hierarchy, there's systems in place, or am I growing it, or am I building a better lifestyle for myself?
Right.
That's the two that hinder peak performance. Because to grow a lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with growing a lifestyle, though. You know, there's great firms out there that I know who have lived very nicely building AUM and doing those types of things. But when you confuse that with think you're building a business, which means in a business, you're reinvesting back in the business. And sometimes those investments are pretty heavy. So I think that's one that hinders growth in a business. It's confusing. And where it really gets you in the rear end a little bit is when they go, hey, I'm ready to transition. And what you find out, their position and the buyers are looking at you going, you're really a lifestyle company. You know, what am I really, if Bo and Paul walk out the door tomorrow, what did I just buy? Because all the clients are going to go, the knowledge is going to leave with them in doing that. Second, strategic planning. Strategic planning for many entrepreneurs, including myself when I was one, was this document that I wrote and I stuck it on the shelf and maybe I would look at it. Active strategic planning, or what we define at Whipfly calling it agile planning, is becoming very important because the environment is changing so quickly.
Right.
And in the strategic planning, it's not just how do we accomplish our goal? How do we reach our Whipfly? We have a Whipfly 2025 vision, which is where we want to be as a firm by 2025. And where there's the disconnect in that for a lot of these business owners is it also has to address the what ifs. What if this doesn't go according to plan? We don't want to be sitting behind our desk going, what do we do now?
Sure.
So strategic planning isn't what do we need to do to reach our goals. It's the contingency planning. What happens if something doesn't go according to plan? So that's the other one. The next one that's hindering high performance, we all hear in the marketplace right now, finding, attracting, retaining talent is very difficult. But there's also a miss within that. Developing the talent. Developing that G2, G3, I don't know what generation you're in, but developing that G1, and not just to be better advisors, to be better leaders within the organization.
Yeah, and I imagine that one of the things that's hard for a lot of businesses that's maybe had one individual controlling things for a while is getting that person to let go, right? Sometimes empowering others to make decisions and not interfering.
Business owners have what I call a relevancy problem. Relevancy problem is the need to remain relevant in the business. So I will show you, I will explain to you just enough to do what I asked you to do.
Right.
But I won't really let you into the vault up here to take you through why we're doing this or what I'm really thinking behind this. And business owners have to realize that every business is going to transition at some point in time. The question is how much control you have over that transition at the end of the day. But business owners and what principals or business don't like to hear this. It's the day you transition, because every business will transition. So this isn't about talking about transitioning, but you want to be the least relevant person in the firm.
Right.
So it is that, and and delegation is another problem for a lot of times with principals, or leaders of a firm. Is I'll give you a task, but am I actually delegating the responsibility?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, you mentioned earlier that one of the stages of prime is technology optimization, right? And we're living in an age where technology is advancing rapidly. I mean, one of the hottest things in the market right now is blockchain and crypto, assets. Um, why is it important for RA firms to really start embracing technology?
Well, there's two facets to this. Um, because everybody's on technology. I think that's my really quick answer. Uh, I was making a statement. I was having a conversation the other day with a firm, and they said, technology, and our clients are older and they don't really adapt to technology. And I was making a joke. I said, my father called me the other day, was asking me about an article that I posted on LinkedIn. And I go, Dad, what are you doing on LinkedIn? He goes, well, I still want to know what's going on.
Right.
So don't assume. I mean, and my mother's 75 and she's on Amazon. So we cannot assume that our older clients are not adapting to technology. There's two distinct though. There's the technology, which is the tools. Then there's the digital of what's the experience I'm trying to create to determine what tools I need. We have a habit of commingling digital with technology. They're two separate things. The digital is more of the experience, and the back end is the tools I'm going to use. But yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier about finding, attracting, and retaining people is becoming more and more difficult. So it is, if I can't attract and retain the people that the people, the folks that I need within my firm, how do I begin to leverage technology, and to what extent can I leverage technology to reduce that amount of human element? You're never, I shouldn't say never say never, right? Um, this is a people business. This is a relationship business. I don't think the robos have tried it, or continue to try it, but for most of the firms that we work with in the wealth space, you're not going to replace the human element. Just not going to do it. But you can supplement the human element. And when you're adopting technology, and whether that's your wealth tech stack or it's your operational technology, what you're really trying to do is, we talk about this in corporate terms all the time, right person, right seat, best use, is if you're freeing up a person where they're spending even a percentage more of their time in what they're best at, because they're leveraging technology to supplement what they're doing, that's a key to growth. That's a key to peak performance.
Yeah, and that's something we actually talk a lot about here at Jude. I mean, looking at some industry trends, you see a lot more machine learning and AI coming into space. And the question, I think the fear was, is AI going to replace humans and jobs? And it's not. It's going to augment them. And the future workforce needs to learn how to work with the technology to make themselves better.
Exactly. And what technology, whether it's machine learning, whether it's AI, is what AI or machine learning or any form of technology gives you. It's underutilized oftentimes, but
Right.
what it gives you is data. And,
Yep.
we have our clients are either, on some form of CRM, they're on Redtail, Salesforce, Dynamics, but oftentimes it's viewed as a contact management system. It's not viewed as a data repository of how do I use this data within these systems to make better business decisions, to
Sure.
interact with our clients better, to create a better associate experience. How am I using this information? I mean,
Right.
the buzzword in the industry now is data analytics. There are great firms out there who do nothing but sparse and study data.
Right. Right. So I guess on that topic of other kind of disruptive technology, innovative trends in the industry, what do you see as being kind of on the edge of our industry right now as far as where we're going?
Oh, it's been happening. Uh, COVID has enhanced that. Um, First and foremost, digital. And digital, from the standpoint, is as human beings, as consumers, our behaviors have changed. So how we interact with firms we work with in our personal lives has changed. And you expect and you hear more and more about the experience. Am I getting a good experience from working with this firm or dealing with this vendor? It's the ability for digital to create a connectivity. I was joking with a fellow. I said I just want to get my hair cut the other day, and I leave getting my hair cut. I booked it online. I pick my
Sure.
stylist. I pick my time. I get my hair cut. I walk out. I get in my car. I get a text message. Well, thank you for visiting the salon. I know they said that to everybody, but that felt. I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Is we talk about digital in the fact that we can argue the older generation of clients, yes, for quarterly meetings, sitting down with your advisor. It's how do we keep them engaged when we're not meeting with them quarterly?
Yeah.
And I would say, sending out a blanket market updates, sending out market newsletters, sending out tax law change memos. It's becoming more and more noise to these folks because
Yes.
it's not targeted specifically to them. You go into Amazon, you look something up, you're like, how did they know I was looking for that?
Right.
It's targeted to me. Then the next gen is how do we most wealth management firms, Bo, as you know well know, have been grown through referrals. I do good work for you, you refer me to your client.
Yep.
Well, how do we now create that digital lead generation to attract the next level of investor who are frankly more critical of who they're working with? They're going to they're looking for compare, and how are we interacting with you? So I think digital client experience is important. I think digital marketing is probably more important going forward. It's a complete disruptor. Second is females in investing, women in investing. Larger percentage of the investing public is now becoming is women, and there was some there's statistical data out there that over 60% of women at a divorce will leave their financial advisor.
Wow.
Most women are the great percentage of women now are the primary income owners within their family.
Sure.
And you talk about talent gaps in wealth management. One talent gap is female advisors, and to be able to work with the female investor. So that's another disruptor. In addition to that next gen, we talk about the younger generation. They're accumulating wealth, and interesting thing about the younger generation, they're accumulating it much faster than the boomer generation because in what they're involved in investing in. The last is crypto. It's crypto. We were not forced to, but we launched a crypto practice here at the firm. Not because we're investing clients and money in it, but we're having the question. Well, crypto education on crypto, and that talks to ESG, NFT, digital assets. I tell firms, you may not like crypto, you may embrace crypto or Bitcoin or whatever that, but you got to have a stance.
Right.
You have to be
know it's
educated
not.
enough that if a client asks you about crypto or about what digital asset or whatever that is, you can't say, I don't know. So that is becoming a bigger, and it's going to continue. It's not going away.
Right. It's not.
That's going to be another big disruptor for the space. So I think for advisors, it's education, education, education. It's no longer about we do good today, we'll do the same as tomorrow. Educate, educate, educate. Start thinking about how does this industry look 3 years out, 5 years out. It may not look the way you thought it was going to look, but at least you're starting to think it critically about how do I change or modify or reinvigorate, innovate, whatever those words you want to use, my firm to keep pace with the changing demographics.
Yeah, those are great points, Paul. All of them across the board. And we talk a lot about education, not only in crypto, but even in technology, right? In AI, machine learning, developing literacy in this space. So I couldn't agree with you
The
more.
biggest bit of advice I give to firms we work with is don't be so quick to say no, because the best decision you're going to make is an educated decision. So whether it's around technology optimization, just saying, oh no, we're not going to use it. Be educated. If it's
Right.
around crypto, if it's around the next gen of client, the younger client, if it's around female, educate so you have the business owners never have a problem making decisions. They make it every day. What business owners now need in this environment is knowing their options so they can make an educated decision. That educated decision may be status quo. We don't want to do anything, but put yourself in a position to make a decision.
Right. Know the reasons why you're saying
Exactly.
no. Exactly. That's a great point. Well, thanks for being with us today, Paul. It's been great. And thanks to all of our viewers out there. Again, if you have any questions or content or topics you'd like us to address, feel free to reach out and contact us. Otherwise, keep an eye out for more from Whitflea and Prime and more from Jude on our Fireside Chats. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.